Cheap.
This is Russ Schneider, and I'm here at the IBM Edge 2013 conference. With me is the North American Brand Manager for XIV, Kem Clausen. Kem, thank you for joining us today.
You bet. Thanks, Russ. Good to be here.
Kem, tell us, I hear XIV is not a RAID disk system. How does it protect customers' data?
Well, Russ, it's not a parity-based RAID system, which is true, but we protect data by replicating stripes or chunks of data and spreading across all the disks in an XIV system. So we actually have more extensive protection than a traditional system.
And what would some of the advantages of not having RAID be? Does that make it harder to install, easier to install, what?
So we also, the way we manage and store data is we have the requirement for no physical disk management. So we don't have to worry about where we place it, the RAID levels, RAID setup. So what it means is no disk hotspots, and it's very easy to manage. And then the net effect is we're able to rebuild a failed disk drive in minutes versus hours. In fact, our new 4 terabyte drive we can rebuild in only 52 minutes in a full system with a lot of I/O. So it's pretty incredible.
Well, that compares to what, about 6 to 8 hours for equivalent drives, actually closer to 20 hours in a traditional RAID system.
Yeah, well, some people tell us the traditional system's kind of like FedEx. It's overnight.
Okay. Kem, tell us, I was at an end user recently, and I heard the storage administrator make a comment that he was able to provision and deploy a server in 8 minutes on XIV that used to take him 8 hours to do on their older style RAID system. Is that really the kind of ease of deployment a user can expect with XIV?
It is, Russ. We have a lot of customers tell us that they're able to now achieve very high productivity rates, that one person can manage as much as 3 or 4 petabytes of storage because it's all very easy and very fast. And so we've gone from hours to minutes, in some cases to seconds.
What about the picture book GUI? I hear that it's sort of like a kid's coloring book. Is it that easy, really?
Well, it's so easy and so powerful that IBM made a wise choice to now deploy that same user interface across every IBM storage system. So I think IBM company has decided it's the way to go, and we certainly feel it's the best in the industry.
Now, we hear a lot of excitement about flash storage here at the Edge conference. And I also understand that there's a way that flash is utilized in the XIV system. How does that work?
Absolutely. So a year ago, February, we flash-enabled XIV, and we stayed true to the vision of XIV of making it easy yet powerful by using flash storage as a level 2 caching device. So it's all automatic. So each of the modules in the XIV grid get a 400 gig flash in addition to the 24 gig of DRAM cache, and the system automatically manages it for maximum performance. And it's allowed us to now see performance up to 180,000 IOs per second in a single XIV system with very low latency.
So that makes XIV a genuine tier 1 storage system. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I think so. When you look at tier 1, I think the first thing is that we need to have more than just dual controllers. So we have 15 modules. It's effectively 15 controllers. So I've got N number of controllers. I've got high performance up to 180,000 IOs per second at typically 5 milliseconds or less. And I've also got a very feature-rich implementation. So I have a wide range of included standard software features, and I think that makes it tier 1.
If I were to want to independently verify performance on an XIV system, could I go up to the spc.org site and storageperformance.org?
Yeah.
And what would I find there? Is this system up there at this point with the flash?
Absolutely. We just published results when effective Monday, June 10th of 2013, this past Monday, and you'll see 180,000 IOs per second at 4.76 milliseconds. More importantly, at 89,000 IOs per second, we were at 0.76 milliseconds latency. So we have a very high throughput but very low latency and a very smooth ramp curve. And if you compare that to other products in the market on that website, you'll see we have the highest IOs per disk of anybody.
Okay, Kem, that's fantastic. Tell us about cost here. It sounds like an incredible disk storage system, easy to deploy and very hot performance. Tell us about cost. compared to a typical Tier 1 disk system, about how much would an XIV set me back?
Exactly. So, the goal with the architecture of XIV, and this is all, the benefits come from the architecture. It's a unique architecture, not using parity RAID, automatically striping the data, including all the software. As a result, we have a solution that is going to typically be some 20 to 30% less expensive to buy, and in most cases 50% or greater less expensive to manage. So it's a very economically viable. The goal with XIV is to help our customers meet or exceed their service levels for Tier 1 and save money at the same time. Now, it's easy to save money, it's easy to do a really good job, but the two together is nirvana.
Okay, you almost got me sold, but let me ask you, what about the tomato slicer or the tomato peeler? What do I get with XIV do I get any software licenses? Is there anything included that
Exactly.
you guys toss in here to get the deal sealed?
Exactly. So it's all inclusive. So all of the software is included at no extra charge. Everything, including data migration, including remote mirroring, snapshots, all of the VMware support. So everything is included. There is no extra charge for anything. The management capability, all included. In fact, we just announced a new hyperscale mobility feature where I can now create a 3 petabyte virtual XIV realm. That's even included. So everything included. We also have premium level service. In addition to IBM's award-winning 24/7 CE service, every system has an XIV technical advisor to help make sure the customer experience is top-notch. So you get all of that and save money.
Kim, thank you for joining Jess Kell here at IBM Edge 2013. Sounds like a fantastic system.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Ready?
Okay. This is Russ Schneider, Jess Kell, and I'm here at the IBM Edge 2013 booth. Joining us today is Shelley Hourigan, who's storage sales leader North America for storage virtualization.
That's
Did I
correct.
get that about right, Shelley?
That's about right.
Okay. Shelley, tell us about IBM's new virtual storage center product.
Well, the IBM Smart Cloud Virtual Storage Center is actually the world's first full-blown storage hypervisor. A hypervisor for storage that allows customers to actually decrease storage costs, to have better effective management, and to quite honestly save a large amount of money. Now, Virtual Storage Center is actually built on some technologies that have been award-winning and in the market for years. IBM SAN Volume Controller for our virtualization plumbing, right? IBM Tivoli Storage Productivity Center, our award-winning storage resource management opportunities, and our IBM Flash Copy Manager technology for snapshot management. And we put all of those pieces together, and we add a few other little things as well, and we create IBM Smart Cloud Virtual Storage Center, which to be that full hypervisor for storage.
And so you get a lot of things here in the bag. Does that cost more or less than if you had bought those products individually in the past?
Well, I like to call it kind of a little bit of like a Happy Meal, right? So obviously the pieces parts, it's actually less expensive. So customers who really want to exploit higher level functions for money saving, right, in a storage environment, this is a much better opportunity for them. It's a better priced package, and everything is all in. Replication services, flash copy services, the ability to do things like easy tier, automated tiering, whether that's Sublon, and a new thing we call the Storage Analytics Engine, which is full volume data movement between tiers.
So instead of having to deploy and license and upgrade and manage 6 or 7 licenses, I just get the one.
You just get one.
Okay, that's fantastic.
It's a beautiful thing.
I heard a comment the other day that over 400 users had been studied that had deployed VSC, and that the average savings the next year was greater than 50%. Is that
Actually, that's more than accurate. So let's discuss that. It's actually more than 400. So if we look at the basic technologies that are part of Smart Cloud Virtual Storage Center, SAN Volume Controller and Tivoli Storage Productivity Center, if you actually look across the entire install base of those enabling technologies, the number's not 400, it's closer to 4,000.
And the average savings among that customer group was?
And the average savings among that 4,000 customer group is greater than 50%.
Fantastic. Let me ask you another question. We're hearing a lot about flash storage here at Edge 2013. How does VSC and its products fit into the flash picture?
Well, it's really fantastic. It's a great opportunity. So SAN volume controller, which is a base core of virtual storage center, as we've talked about, has been able to, for quite some time, been able to virtualize flash storage. And with the new IBM flash systems that we have, one of the things that's terrific that customers are really enjoying is the ability to virtualize those systems so that there's an intelligent layer that lives on top of them. Flash is very, very fast, but it needs a little bit of assistance, right, if you want to do things like thin provisioning, because those things aren't built in. So you can use Virtual Storage Center or SAN Volume Controller to actually give the thin provisioning layer to Flash, to give replication services. So I've heard people say that there's a brain.
So, Shelley, we hear a lot about flash storage systems here at the IBM Edge Conference. IBM acquired Texas Memory Systems and has introduced that as the IBM Flash product. What would VSC and SVC add to a customer's environment that was considering flash deployment?
Okay, so Virtual Storage Center and its underlying technology of SAN Volume Controller, if you can actually think about that like a little bit of a brain, a volume control brain. So the flash system itself doesn't have a lot of those built-in things like you would think with like a DS8000 or another type of device. So if you think about SAN Volume Controller or Virtual Storage Center package, allowing there to be some very high-level technologies with the flash system, thin provisioning, easy tier, replication services, all those kinds of opportunities. And so SEC and Virtual Storage Center really create an excellent package for our flash system. In fact, we've even gone to market with some opportunities for business partners such as yourself to have a package of our SVC or our VSC and the flash system. So they really work very well together to give that extra function, that extra intelligence to the flash system.
So if I deployed a flash system in my user environment, SVC would add replication, it would add flash copy, it would add monitoring. What about easy tier? Could I use it to enable the flash to help my existing storage in an automatic tiering environment?
Absolutely. So one of the great things about easy tier in the Virtual Storage Center layer or the SAN Volume Controller enabling layer is that easy tier works to do sub-LUN or some sub-volume tiering when something gets hot, so a hotspot. Everybody knows when a database gets hot, the whole thing doesn't get hot, only pieces get hot. So if you have a flash system under control of a Virtual Storage Center or a SAN Volume Controller environment with other devices, you could very easily populate the hotspots of those other devices, maybe a DS8 or an XIV or a V7, and you could populate those hotspots. SVC could move those hotspots from those devices to flash.
And how easy is it to do easy tier? I assume from the name it's pretty easy.
From the name, it's very, very simple. So Easy Tier does its own analytics and does its own smarts. And one of the great things about Easy Tier that I think people don't really realize is it doesn't require a lot of time to think about a lot of things. When things are obvious that they need to be moved, it'll take care of it right away. So there's this urban legend out there that things take 24 hours, and that's just not true.
I heard that with Easy Tier, I could actually get about a 300% improvement in I/O performance for my existing storage just by mixing in 4, 5, 6% into a pool of flash storage under SVC?
So absolutely. So we see a lot of customers who can get upwards of 300% improvement, and the way that they're doing that is they're understanding their workloads, they're understanding their complete environments. They put that in there, and they are seeing that. And in fact, we have a lot of customers here at Edge, by the way, doing sessions on that very thing. There's a lot of white papers and some testimonials out there that'll show that.
What if I'm an end user and I'm out of storage, and instead of using my budget to buy more storage, I deploy VSC with SVC. I've heard about IBM's RTC.
Okay.
Would that help me get more capacity out of my existing storage? How does RTC fit into this VSC picture?
So in the IBM alphabet soup that you just stated, so Virtual Storage Center and SAN Volume Controller, either one of those things. Sorry, can we back up?
This is a lot.
So with real-time compression can actually be an add-on to Virtual Storage Center or to SAN Volume Controller. What that actually allows is real-time compression technology to occur in that hypervisor layer, which means that compression occurs before the data is ever stored. Compression at the virtual storage center layer or the SAN volume controller layer, the benefit is to do that compression before that data is ever stored. A lot of vendors really talk about compression, and they do it in a back-end process. They store the data first and then they compress. Well, with this technology, you actually compress the data before it's ever stored, and that saves customers an enormous amount of money. Because I cover North America, I see a lot of customers, and one of the great things that they tell me is with real-time compression in the virtual storage center or SAN volume controller layer, they're actually able to avoid storage purchases. I had one customer tell me he doesn't have to purchase storage for another 2 years because it's compacting everything he has.
Well, that's fantastic. So if I had a 200 terabyte environment and I was out of storage and I turned on RTC, what may I expect in a typical environment? How much additional storage could I pick up?
Well, you know, it really does depend. What really depends is not all volumes compress well. Some compress fantastically, others not so much. So we have a tool called the Comprestimator that will actually help customers understand what would compress well or not. So you'd pick the volumes that would compress well, and I've had customers get 7-to-1 and 8-to-1 compression on certain volumes. In average, we like to be conservative. We are IBM, so we like to be conservative, and we like to talk about 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 type compression.
Well, that's fantastic, because that could double or triple the amount of storage I have on the floor without having to add any more storage. No more SAN ports.
Yeah.
No, for additional storage footprints.
Correct.
No data migration. The existing storage I have just gets bigger, huh?
So one of the great things is you can do almost like you would consider a thick to thin kind of conversion, right? An uncompressed to compressed kind of version. And customers who've had our hypervisor layer, whether VSC or SVC, have certainly know how to do that and have experienced that for years. And so this is one extra added benefit to put in that full hypervisor.
How hard is it to deploy real-time compression?
Real-time compression is easy as pie. It's already built into the SAN volume controller and the virtual storage center code. It's already built in there, and you can turn it on volume by volume, picking the volumes that are the best targets. And then you can, if it's existing data, you can take that existing data and simply do what we call a volume mirror, right, from an uncompressed to a compressed volume, simple as pie, underneath the covers, and the users never know you did it.
Like throwing a light switch.
Like throwing a light switch.
Let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
About RTC. What effect would that have on performance? Does compressing the data slow down my performance?
You know, I think a lot of people tend to think that, but actually no. So if you think about what happens with a hypervisor for storage, the data actually gets sent to the hypervisor layer. The hypervisor layer will respond back to the server, and then the compression happens underneath. So that never sees any kind of performance degradation whatsoever. Now, customers often worry about what happens when it comes back out. When it actually comes back out, because the data has been compressed, there's a lot less IOs that the actual hardware needs to do to gather the entire data stream. So there's an enormous amount of fewer IOs that occur on the storage underneath. So in fact, in some cases, we see real-time compression speed up performance, which is a little contrary.
That seems contrary, but it's good news.
Yep.
Shelley, one final question.
Sure.
If IBM has several thousand users worldwide using TPC, the monitoring package, and SVC today.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm one of those users and I already have one of those licenses like
Yes.
SAN volume controller, how can I move up into virtual storage center? Does IBM have a deal for me?
IBM has a deal for you. So what we do is we take existing customers who have maybe SAN volume controller or Tivoli storage productivity center today. Okay, and we can actually do a conversion. There's 2 or 3 ways to do that. We pick the way that's most financially beneficial to the customer, but we absolutely want the customers to be able to take those a la carte pieces and put it into this more attractive package. We always want to do that. We would never strand them.
Shelley, thank you for joining Jeff Scale here at the IBM booth at Edge 2013. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about my very favorite thing.
Good job.